Hi, Steve Chase with the Globe and Mail newspaper. Thank you for coming to Canada, and we really appreciate your insight, and you're an important component of this event. I want to return to the Canada-U.S. relations. I want to ask, you talked about how 34 states have Canada as their biggest export market. My question for you is, we're not at the table because your president broke it off over images on TV. So this is not a genteel dispute about dairy and you know, softwood. It's something akin to economic warfare. He's got 50% tariffs on steel, destroying the steel industry, 50% tariffs on aluminum, 36% tariffs on softwood, 25% tariffs on cars. Most of those industries grew to supply your country. So what are you doing to get Mr. Trump back to the table?
I'm going to let my Republican colleagues answer that, but first let me just say that the two women who are in line, we're going to take your questions before we go. Don't worry. And what I will tell you what I've done. I've introduced legislation to address the ability under our IEPA law to invoke tariffs, because this is not an emergency as far as I'm concerned, and I think the Supreme Court seems to have serious reservations about that. I led an amicus brief with 36 other senators, bipartisan, and 171 House members to the Supreme Court in support of that position, that the president does not have the authority to invoke these tariffs under U.S. law. And by the way, I also think we ought to urge the administration to take up USMCA, get this trade deal done so that we can stop the tariffs, because they are not only damaging your economy, they're damaging our economy. In New Hampshire, I can quote you business after business that I've visited that has told me that the tariffs that have been invoked on Canada and what's happened with the relationship has been detrimental to their business, and it's affecting our economy. So I certainly share the view that we need to address this.
Yeah.